Hi, welcome back. Now that we've talked about finding and creating a proposal, let's spend just a few minutes talking about building a budget. You might have to submit a budget with your proposal, and here are some basic things to know. Certain funding agencies will have restrictions on what they fund. For example, some organizations may not provide funding to construct buildings, and some might not provide funding for personnel. The request for proposal or any other donor document should be thoroughly read for any restrictions prior to preparing the proposal and budget. You should research all costs and get a very good estimate in the budget. This is much better than guessing at the costs and being challenged on the estimates by the potential funding agency. Be realistic with the budget and do not overestimate the projections. If the potential funding agency does not have any suggested or required budget categories, organize the budget around a set of meaningful categories that work for the proposed project. Some typical components of a budget are labor. Start with the personnel and budget for the time of the people that will be directly working on the project, plus any supporting staff. Instead of having all full-time staff on the project, consider having a number of part-time staff, especially if the part-time staff work with other partner organizations. Benefits. You'll need to calculate the benefits for your personnel. Usually there are local laws that you must abide by. If you don't know what they are, you will need to research them. Travel. Budget for any international, local, and other regional travel. Equipment. The following are the types of equipment and software that might be required for a funded project. Computer and printer for general project support. Audio-visual equipment for recording project activities, presentations. Software for word processing. Email, internet, accounting and presentations. Furniture. Electrical accessories such as lights. Intercom, office telephone system, or a photocopy machine. The specifications and the required number of equipment should be clearly indicated and should be justified by the project objectives and details. There should be a clear idea of the actual cost of the equipment. Be careful in listing the equipment that will be required for the project. Funding sources are usually more willing to provide funds for the support of personnel than they are to support the purchase of equipment that may or may not directly benefit the funded project. Supplies. It is easy to overlook many of the office supplies that will be required for the project. By going through the project details and examining the whole process, a list of supplies can be identified. Typical items include general stationery, printed letterheads, postage for mailing, paper for printing and photocopying, pens, pencils, paper clips, and other such office supply. Usually, a trip to a stationery shop will help in making a full list of things required. Tea, coffee cups, snacks, or similar supplies are usually not included in the proposal. Contractual. This is where any small grants that you will give to any partners or any consultants will be budgeted. Construction. Usually donors don't fund construction costs, so you can leave this blank. Other direct costs. Possible other direct costs include office costs, programmatic activities, and other costs. With the personnel, this will probably be the longest section of your budget. Indirect costs. If you have a NICRA, please list your NICRA rates. If you don't or don't know what this is, just leave it blank. Or look for donor guidelines for fees. You'll also want to include a budget narrative with the Excel document that explains all the costs and how you estimated them. We will now conduct an optional activity. Think about the proposal you submitted to IREX. Can you estimate the costs that will be associated with it? You've been encouraged to create a very low budget project. Take the attached Excel budget template and try to fill in the costs you think you would need to run your program. If you've created a project with very minimal costs, imagine you're wanting to scale up which means increase the size of the project, and are submitting a proposal to a donor. Look online for estimates. This was a very quick overview of budgeting, which is a complex process. We went over some tips on preparing a budget and some budget categories. Use the attached resources to learn more. I hope you found learning about proposal writing and budgeting useful for your community work. You can find additional resources online. Enjoy the second portion of this course on partnership building.